Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Raw Reviews with Nettie and Ian. I thank you all so much for tuning in, for following, liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. It really means a lot. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. We appreciate you yet again. So today, I promised I would follow up on the review that I did to Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji. So I started this book right in the new year. So beginning of the year. It took me a while to read it. It's only 21 chapters, but it was a phenomenal book. It was a phenomenal book. Look at all of that. Y'all, I don't even know where to start. One thing I will say is whether you believe in God, a higher power, universe, whatever it is that you choose to believe in, it it helped me just relate to it. I have, strong beliefs in God. I have my relationship with God, but this book here made it very real in the moment. It wasn't sugar coated. It's very real life, very day to day what you deal with. And she goes about describing different things that she went through throughout her career, just trying to get her career started. Very, again, real life, but yet throwing in those moments of her faith and her belief in God. And she does it in not a manner that's scolding anyone or anything. It was just so real and raw. And you can tell, like, this is her. I laughed so many times reading this. I felt so many, like, dang, Net, you've gone through that. You have had to endure some of those things. You've had to go back to certain scriptures and really be like, okay, God, you're right. And it's just like, whether you, and even if you don't, that's something else I want to say. Even if you don't have a belief in God or have a relationship or whatever, when I say this book is still very relatable, and one chapter in particular that stuck out to me was towards the end. Each chapter, I say each chapter because it was 21 chapters in the book, and she breaks it down into sections. And the very last section, I will say, was so real because I personally have had to go through a lot of those things and have endured a lot of those things, and it just made me be like, okay, you know what? You're not the only one that goes through it. And when I say someone always has it worse than you, this book showed that you may think your life is bad, but somebody has it 10 times worse. I want to read a couple of pieces that stuck out to me. Let me see. I just don't even know where to start. Like, it was that good. So I had wrote down some pages I wanted to read. I said I wasn't gonna spoil it because one of my friends, the one who bought me the book, so she didn't want me to spoil it. So I'm not gonna spoil it, but I am gonna read a couple of pieces which will hopefully prompt some of you, if you have not read it, to purchase it, or even check it out from your library. I personally would purchase it because it was that good. I've highlighted so much. I will reread this book again. I will say that I really, 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 really will reread this book again probably next year. Let me see what she said. Okay, for example, page 189. She says, when we're mindful of who we represent, we realize that our calling is bigger than the thing we do well and larger than any temporary feeling. And then she relates it back to a scripture, which was in this instance, Isaiah 26:8. And that basically is, we can't focus on just our day-to-day of what we want to do. We have to be mindful of everything has a bigger purpose, and the bigger purpose in this instance is God. Everything we do is for him. He gets all the glory. I say that all the time. No matter what it is that I do, no matter what great comes to me, it's all God, man. Because at the end of the day, and I've had to learn that, I've always been humble, but I say I'm much more humbler, even if that's not a word, just because you just realize that it's not all us that does this. Like, if it wasn't for God, or again, whoever it is you believe, your higher power in the universe, we wouldn't be where we are. Just him giving us life day to day. And she says that as well so much, that no matter who we are, no matter where we are, we all still struggle with something. And she talks about that heavily. She talks about her saving herself for marriage. And granted, yes, she is in her, I believe, late 30s, early 40s. She still remains a virgin. And talks about the dating scene and things of that nature, and how, she does battle with it. Yes, she have a relationship with God, but she still like to listen to her R&B, her classics, her hip hop, her rap. And that's one thing about this book that I can honestly say I really enjoyed. She does not make anyone feel bad. Like, you won't feel shamed or anything, because it's like, dang, like I tell people a lot of times, like, I'm hood and holy at the same time. I'm far from hood, but I still have my moments that I listen to my rap, my Kevin Gates, my Rod Wave, all of that. And she just makes that all she's so well-rounded. That's what I will say. She's well-rounded. She's very down to earth. She's very grounded. She's grounded in who she is as a woman. She's very grounded in who she is as a Christian believer and her relationship with God. And she just basically lets it be known that it is okay to have your relationship with God. It is okay to battle with things that you're going to battle with. But as long as you know that you're doing what it takes and including him in your day-to-day decision, that's all that matters. And even if she talks about careers, she talks about relationships, just so many different things she talks about that was just so key to me. And even talks about having those moments of solitude where you are by yourself. And this was so relatable to me at this time of life that I'm in, because we all want love, we all want a relationship, but when you've gone through something so detrimental, you just have to have those moments where it's like, okay, God, I get it. It's not for me. You want me in a moment where you can elevate me to where I don't have any distractions. And that's one thing I've realized. And in so many instances, she kind of says that just a lot of things she's gone through in life were distractions. I also like the fact that she discusses how, her relationship with her parents, where they wanted her to be a doctor because of their background. They're like African or Nigerian. And they wanted her to be a doctor. She was going to school, but that's not what she wanted to do. She wanted to do comedy, and her family shamed her in so many aspects. But yet she knows that she still, to an extent, even after reaching the peak she's at, tried to get their approval. And at the end of the day, we can't fight for anybody's approval. Only approval we need is God. And when I say this book, I just don't even, it's just so good. Y'all, it was so good to me. Like, the very last, I have highlighted so much. Just look, y'all see, look at this whole paragraph right here, just highlighted. She was talking about growth. Growth is pertinent to success. You've never been this version of yourself before. And the new you requires new prayers, new partnerships, and new thought patterns to sustain your grind. Just because God tolerated a habit in one season doesn't mean he's going to let it slide in another. That took me out. That right there, I was just like, whoo, that was so good. She said that was just his grace covering your weakness the whole time. Not because they weren't a problem, but because you didn't have the capacity to address them then. Don't be fooled into believing your shortcomings are actually your superpower. That's all I'm gonna say. That right there is like so real. And I highly recommend this book. Out of 5 stars, I'd give it 10. It was just that great. And it's something that, again, I would reread personally. And it's something, it took me a while to read. Like I said, I started this book December 31st. We're going to say I started January 1st, because I started it right before the new year hit. Literally a couple of hours before the new year came in, I started reading it. And it took me so long to read, not only because everything with just life that I have going on, but because I really wanted to soak in everything that I read. And it was just so good. But the last few chapters, I could not put it down. It was just that good. So I definitely recommend it. Bamboozled by Jesus, Yvonne Orji. You can purchase it anywhere. I know Walmart has it. I know Amazon has it. But I would purchase it, if you have a local bookstore, I say purchase it, things of that nature. Get those smaller businesses, things of that nature. Purchase it. Great book. Purchase it. Now, I will say I've started a new one. Y'all know I'm a reader. This is what I do. I do have a goal. This year, my goal was 45 books. So I'm on book 3 for the year. I am currently reading Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. I'm on chapter, I think, 10. I'm on chapter 10. And this is really a good book. For it to be fiction, I will say it is so relatable. A brief synopsis. There's this young girl. Her name's Lauren. Her and her family and the community. There has been some type of event that's occurred. They live inside this wall. No one knows, with the exception of a few people, what goes on outside of this wall. she believes in God, but she has her own thoughts about God. There are I personally feel moments that we're living in right now that's so relevant in this book. This book, I don't remember when it was written, but it has the years 2024, 2025, 2026. And it talks about how certain foods are so expensive they can't afford them. Talks about how the police and the fire department and certain very known individuals that we probably take for granted, I may not say take for granted, they have to pay for those fees. Someone gets killed, they have to pay for someone to find out who did it, and a lot of times they don't. There's the issue of race is brought about. Some people don't like certain races being together, but they're in this wall together and having to live off of farms. They're trying to grow different products and things of that nature because they can't afford meats. There are different break-ins that occur of people from outside this wall. And again, there's no televisions. There's maybe 1 or 2 televisions. They read heavily. When I tell you, it made me think about the book of Revelations. Again, there's a lot of things that just studied my Bible and things of that nature just made me think of this book as I read through it. It's so good. This is a great book. I am enjoying it. Again, that's one reason I do read a variety of genres and authors, because I feel that you can get a very broad perspective on the way you read. You can look at things and interpret things a lot differently. And the way I'm interpreting this book, I'm not sure if anyone else who has read this book has interpreted in the manner I have. I can't wait to finish it, actually. I plan on finishing it within the next few days, only because 1, it is a library book, but 2, because it's just that good. Like, I plan on sitting down tonight and just reading it, or trying to finish it at least. But I'm really enjoying this book. I understand someone has told me that there's another part to it. If you have read this book, let me know your thoughts of it. I'm only on chapter 10, and that's just what I've taken so far from it. And it's so much more that I've taken in from it. I would love to sit with someone and actually talk about this specific book. So I would definitely say, again, if you've read this book, let me know, comment, just let me know your thoughts on it. I would love to hear other people's interpretation of this book. If you want to read it, I definitely say check your local libraries. Again, I don't believe in purchasing a lot of books. I honestly think I would probably purchase this book, though, because I would probably reread it. I have read different reviews where people said they've read this book in different times in their life. One individual I know stated that they read it early on in their teens. They've read it again as a middle-aged adult and want to read it again, and they've interpreted something different each time. So I would definitely reread it. Like, I don't even think this should be classified as fiction. That's just my personal opinion. And if Octavia Butler was still alive, I would love to meet her and sit and talk with her about this book. Like, I really would. So that's just my thoughts on it so far. Again, check it out. If you have already read it, if you've heard of it, if you have thoughts about it, let me know. I would love to hear others' opinions. So again, Parable of the Sower is what I'm currently reading. Just finished Bamboozled by Jesus. Again, definitely get a copy. Do what you need to do with highlighting, tabbing. You know, I plan on going back and reading through my highlighted points. I love reading, and it won't stop. Today, that is what we have discussed. I definitely appreciate you all listening, tuning in. Again, please like, share, subscribe. I thank you all for just giving me the opportunity to just talk to you about these books and things that I love to read and just my thoughts on them. Today, I will say I am wearing Label K Boutique, one of my lovely friends. She does have a boutique. I will attach her website. Stay tuned for new merchandise to drop. Just be on the lookout. She's phenomenal with what she does. She never disappoints. I love it. I love shopping with her. So that is who today's episode is sponsored by, Label K Boutique. Again, I will drop the link to her website in the comments. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it all. Again, thank you all for